Right, we are live. I think, yeah, we are live. Welcome back to Stock Tricks with Nick for this week's Midweek Movers edition. So today, coming off a couple days of the growth stocks giving their profits back, I have a couple names that I'll be going over today. That's on my watch list. I only have three stocks from people from StockTwits or Twitter that they want to cover. So it'll be a relatively light stream unless you guys want to see other stocks. So if you do, please use the chat in the live stream, and we'll go over all the stocks that you guys want to cover. If you're new to the channel, we do this live stream either on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on the week. Because this is a shortened trading week, Friday the market's closed. Decided to do it today. Outside of this live stream, on Friday, I do a trading recap going over the stocks that I traded for the week, a look back at how our breakout watch list did and the watch list that we covered during tonight's live stream, how they do, and then just a look back on the market. And then on Sunday morning, I put out a breakout watch list, usually between 10 and 20 stocks that are set up for possible breakouts in the coming week. With that said, if you enjoy the stream, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more stock trading content. And give me a follow on StockTwits or Twitter. The Twitter handle there is StockTrickNick, a little bit shortened. All right, so yeah, right now we just had 2 weeks of really strong breakouts, and then shortened week last week. So last Wednesday, Thursday, things started to get shaky. A lot of stocks started giving back some gains. Thankfully, I was selling pretty aggressively selling into the strength, but still had about 50% of my portfolio on net long going into this week. Got hit pretty hard on Monday. Remember we gapped up. Everything was looking good at the open. I hate gap ups on Monday because you don't want to be taking new positions when that happens, because when if the market does reverse in those situations, you're likely to take a full stop on a trade. So I definitely wasn't adding new positions. Well, I should take that back. I added one position immediately, took some profit, and then got stopped out at my entry for the rest. But for the most part, not adding any positions that are already gapped over what would be a possible buy point. And then after the first 30 minutes, basically all the growth stocks started pivoting lower, had pretty massive sell-offs. And then today, not much different, a lot of selling off. I think Neo and Snapchat were the only two kind of strong stocks today, but we have to take what the market gives us. And for 2 weeks, we were pressing. I was on margin, putting on trades with mostly with those high tight flags that were working so well. But now it's all about defensive trading. I'm about 6% off my account high. So once I get past 5% off the account high, then I take a couple different steps to go into my defense trading, and that includes trying to sit out of the market as much as I can. And then if I do take a trade, typically my position size will be 10% on an initial position, and then if there is a position or is a spot to add, I could bump it up to 15%. But usually I say with that 10%. Now, now that we're playing a little bit more defense, any positions that I would put on now would be at 5% of my portfolio, because now I don't have the profits to keep kind of pyramiding up the exposure. Now is just right now is about letting the market kind of relax and set up. But once we get some setups going, then it's 5% position sizing that I'm putting on, and then in this type of market, once the breakouts are not working as well, I'm much quicker to move my stops to my entry point, because if I'm putting on a new trade already 5% down from my equity highs, I don't want to be slipping even further down. So if some stocks get out and I can quickly cover my entry point and they come back and stop me out, then that's no risk on the trade. But if you're taking full stops on full position sizes when you're already 5% off your equity high, that's how you start to get into that the danger of really blowing up your account. And that's not something that I want to do. I'm always a risk first trader. So even though I trade a lot of the growth stocks, I always try to keep a risk first mindset. So we'll go over that a little bit more with the setups. And then it looks like you guys have a good list of names to go over. So with that said, quick disclaimer, anything that I talk about today is just for educational purposes only. All of this is my own personal opinion, not financial advice, not trading advice, nothing like that. Please do your own due diligence. Trading comes with financial risk. With that said, we got, I should have changed the name of this from breakout watch list to just general watch list, because when you do get a lot of pull downs in the market where a lot of the charts are failing, a lot of breakouts are squatting and then reversing lower, when you do have the first kind of setup that looks nice, that a lot of momentum traders are also keeping an eye on, once that does break out, those are more likely to sell off quicker as people are trying to soften up their P&L. And I'll go over that example a little bit further when we get to the charts. But here are 14 stocks that have general setups that we can take a look at, and then some stocks requested. All right, let's go to the charts. So first we have AA, and I actually got stopped out of this today. If you watch the breakout watch list, you notice this is a high tide flag, so over 90% up within 8 weeks, and then from the peak here to the bottom within 25%, this is only a 13% move, so that qualifies it for the high tide flag setup. I bought with a break over the previous day's high through here. You can see my green flag there. I liked how it gapped down here and then rallied all the way up. We kind of had this like sideways day, the 22nd, and then broke over that point, but it squatted on me. And that was one of the first ones that was a quality setup that squatted. So that's like the first yellow flag that maybe the market's getting, at least the growth market's getting a little extended. And then we had an inside day. I think that was on Thursday. Yeah, Christmas Eve. And then looked like it was going to get out on Monday. Was looking great. And you could see it squatted here. So that was another kind of yellow flag with the setup. And then today, like I was saying earlier, I moved my stop to my entry point. Or that was on HIMX. Never mind. Kept a very tight stop. Let's see, what did I get stopped out at? 21.75. I think that was the low. Yeah, just below the low of the 23rd there. And you can see this nice long lower wick. So getting a lot of stops knocked out there, including my own. And then it rallied up and closed right at the 8-day exponential moving average. So this still has an opportunity to get going again, but probably not in this week. Maybe it trades sideways, maybe sideways up a little bit, and then you could use the high from Monday, 23.02, call it $23 as a possible buy point. But again, I put this watch list together so I can look at the quality setups to see what stocks actually get through those pivot points, break out and hold that breakout. The more that we can get that actually break out and hold, that gives me more confidence that, okay, the types of setups, the type of stocks that I trade are starting to work again. Now I can start getting exposure in the market. So even though we're talking about them today, I'm probably not going to be trading most of these, if any, but definitely good to go through the steps of putting together a watch list and keep a pulse on the market. So that's AA. Next is ATRK. ARTK? Maybe not. ATKR. ATKR. My bad. So This one, I think also a high tight flag. Let me measure. So 122% up to the peak and only 12% down. So high tight flag. One strike against this though. As you can see, it does have a little bit of overhead on the name. So if it rallies up to this point, maybe some traders that were stuck up here or in the most recent pullback will try and get out, break even. So trying to avoid the stocks that have any type of overhead, but not too much on this name. I like the lower volume on the pullback today and how it undercut all the previous lows here. So anyone with a stop at those lows got stopped out today, and then it just kind of hung out there. Now this could be, again, this could be a chart that just completely falls apart. There's a gap in the chart here. Maybe it does have to pull down to the 50-day or do something like that. But in a working environment where the breakouts uh, are happening left and right, this is going to be one of those quality setups that you look for a break over yesterday's high of 41.93. That's a possible buy point, and then we're going through the previous highs here, $45, and that would be a high tight flag breakout. But um, right now, not much is working, but we'll keep an eye on that. Next, we have BIDU. This is one that's forming up really well and holding relative strength compared to the QQQs, and also looks really good on a volume standpoint. So only a couple red days here, and those red days were on very light volume, showing that not many people are trying to get out of the stock, even though it's already extended. What is this, 53% from the previous base area? You could say from the breakout point, it got 37%. One time touched the 8-day exponential moving average here, and it's been holding that pretty well. So uh, I'll keep an eye on this. Definitely would like to see it just move kind of down to the right a little bit, give some time for the 20-day simple moving average to catch up. But this is a name that's really holding up well while most names aren't. So that's BIDU. Next is BILI, BILI. Definitely quick to take a pullback buy, especially again when the market's not working very well. But had a nice run up through here, 111% pullback with a couple long lower wicks of only 12% there. Hasn't basically closed at the 8-day exponential moving average on the 28th, but right about there. If we could get tomorrow, would be Wednesday. If we could get tomorrow to open lower and then take out the high, that could be a possible buy point. Otherwise, if we have like a sideways down day yesterday that doesn't pierce the previous day's high, that sets up the trade even better, because that shows more price agreement through here as the market sorts itself out, and then possible break through there. That's BILI. Next, we have DCP. You can see the 200 days just starting to get in an uptrend. Typically, you want that to be an uptrend for about a month before. And you can see as I zoom out, lots of overhead trading. So definitely a strike against this setup. I don't think any of the setups that I'm going to show are 100% perfect, because that's just how the market is right now. But did have a nice move higher, and then pullbacks only 17%, so not too much there. And then lighter volume today on the pullback, which closed under the previous low, which that's another strike against it, but still has that look to it, where if this can just keep trading sideways, and then the market comes back, the growth market comes back, this could get going. DCP, FLGT is next. Really good volume the last couple days. One undercut the previous lows here, rallied right back up, closed green yesterday, and then another long lower wick just between the 8-day exponential moving average and the 20-day simple moving average, and then rallied back up, plus 8% today. Not many names were, so that's definitely a good thing. And also, if we zoom out here, you see kind of a sloppy volatility contraction pattern. First pull down's 50%, second pull down to the low, 37%, 27%, 22%. So things, even though it started off like so wide, things are starting to tighten up a little bit. Um, not to the point where you can get large position size on it because, well, without using an arbitrary 5% stop here. Um, but a break over today's high, then you get over this period's high, or looking at the high from December 10th, that's 54.14. But definitely showing the right type of volume, green on or heavy on the green days. The pullback days, very light volume, good relative strength, even though it's kind of all over the place. Um, and we're over this main part of the volume shelf, so not much resistance up top on the name. It's FLGT. Next is GPI. This might be my favorite setup out of all the stocks that I'm talking about today. 200 days in a nice uptrend. Now you have the 50, the 20, the 8 exponential all right there. Um, the 8 and the 20 both right at the low of the day today. Very low volume on kind of the inside day that closed in the upper half of the green candle yesterday that we got. And you can see this. Let me measure this. No, so only 62% up on that move. Not a high tide flag, but we are over all the mess before that during the pullback here. So now things are tightening up. It's not perfectly drawn, but you get the point. So flagging out, things are getting nice and tight. This one red volume that happened on the quadruple witching day, you got to kind of ignore that, or take it with a grain of salt at least. But good volume yesterday, good volume with the pullback again today. A break over yesterday's high, 127.60. That's a possible buy point. But nice tight action through here on a name that has been successful this year. Next, we have HIMX, and you can see I've taken this trade twice now and got stopped out both times. The first one I got stopped out for a loss. The second one I stopped even, but a high tight flag. Let's see, 113%-ish up, and now to the bottom, only 14% down. So even though the market's kind of malfunctioning, this is holding relatively steady. Have good volume on up days, lower volume on pullback days. One strike against this chart is there's a lot of squat days in here. So any type of breakout or what looks to be a breakout quickly gets sold off. So until the market gets right, this is going to be a tough one to buy. But still, 2% down today, lower volume than yesterday. Yesterday looked like it was going to get out, broke over the high from shortened trading week. Was that Wednesday then? Over Wednesday's high of 710, but then squatted as everything else was getting pulled down. But a break over now 719, yesterday's high, that could be buyable. Have a kind of diagonal work in there and some rising lows. So we'll watch it. Sometimes third time is the charm. If I get stopped out of trade, I don't let that kind of create an emotional attachment to the 4 letters in this ticker. I'm always just trying to trade the quality setup. So something shakes me out, sets up again, I'll take the trade again. If the market's holding up well right now, we'll see if I take this trade, but definitely one to watch, holding up relatively well as everything else sells off much more. JGH is next. This was on Monday's breakout watch list. Very, very thin trading name, so you can't get much size on this at all, but 200 days now getting in an uptrend. What kind of move is this? JGH. Did I type this wrong? JHG, yep. There we go. I was going to say that chart does not look right. So pretty strong move here, 80% since mid-September. And then you can see this nice flag pattern as it pulls back. Second pullback undercuts the first one, so that's nice. That's nice if you're not already in the trade because that stops out a lot of the traders that put their lows at the previous low. So undercut that. Now just kind of riding the 20-day simple moving average and now above both the 8-day and the 20-day. Today, was it an inside day? Let's see, 39, 30. No, lower lows, lower highs. But this chart has not malfunctioned just yet. It is a little bit lighter traded, so take that as you will. But a break over yesterday's high, 32.83, could be viable. Next, we have NIO, and this is one of the few growth stock names that had a nice reversal today. Good volume on it, a nice undercut of some previous lows, and rallied, closed right at the high of the day. That's great to see. Well, it's great for people that are still in the trade. I got stopped out yesterday, which is fine. This could be setting up again as kind of a pullback buy opportunity. So if we open lower and then take out the high today, that's buyable, 46.34. If we gap up, I'm not chasing any gap ups in this market, but definitely keep an eye on this, holding good relative strength, and it looks like this could be flagging out and tightening up for another move. NUAN is next. This one I wanted to put on just because it's holding good relative strength. You could zoom out, very clean uptrend before the earnings pop. You see now the average true range, ATR, coming in, so everything's getting nice and tight. Volume, very, very light the last couple trading periods. And today's low undercut a bunch of previous day's lows, so any stops too tight set got stopped, and then touched off the 20-day simple moving average and rallied right to the close, right on the 8-day. So this is a chart that's still intact, looks pretty strong. And then break over yesterday's high, 44.40, would be kind of the watch point to see if that breakout gets sold off or if we have our first winner kind of run. I wanted to cover Snap just because it showed really good relative strength today, up 6%, good volume on the move, even though the market was pretty terrible. But even with this, you see this long upper wick, and that's just showing all the selling pressure, and kind of gets back to my point of when everything's malfunctioning, when all the stocks are pulling down, the first couple setups that are breaking out that people can sell off to soften up their P&L for the week, month, year, you're going to see people do that. So that's looks like what happened here. Move, I didn't gap higher, I guess, but looked like it was going to take off, take out. Did it take out the high? Let's see, 53.79, 53.78. So a cent away from taking out the high from December 23rd, and then just squatted and closed under the open price. So good relative strength because it's up 6%, but that is showing exactly what you don't want to see, where any quality breakouts are getting sold off. I want to bring up APPN because this is another perfect example of that. So I tried to pull back buy on this yesterday as it undercut a bunch of previous lows, and then I bought it as it recaptured the low from December 23rd. So got filled at probably around 161, 150. Yeah, so 153, the low of this day. Sorry. So got filled at 153.32. Today we open, immediately rally. It was up 7%, and of course, everyone, including myself, I did sell some into this strength. But everyone's like, oh, perfect, we can soften up our P&L. Let's sell this off. And we went from up 7% or 7.5%, whatever it was, to closing down just under 1%. So lots of selling pressure on some quality setups. And that's what I'm afraid of. That's what I don't want to risk too much on. So with this, once it moved up, I moved half my stop to my entry point. So not only did I take profit to kind of soften up my own P&L, I immediately moved half my stop to my entry. So when I did get stopped out on that half, I'm taking risk out of the equation as quickly as I can when the market's um, not operating correctly, when setups aren't working for my trading style. Two more, and then we'll get to the ones that you guys are commenting on. STRO. This one looks still pretty solid. The last couple days sold off, but now sitting right on that 20-day simple moving average. Did undercut that last time. I think this might have been, I'm not sure what this move was. Doesn't look like it was earnings, but um, either way, this is fine relative strength. As the market was selling off, this was growth stocks were selling off last week and this week. This stayed relatively flat. That's good. But now we want to see a break over yesterday's high, 22.93. Call it 23 just to be on the safe side. So if we could break over there, that's viable, or in my case, watchable. So uh, that's STRO, and then finally TITN. Let me zoom out. Nice uptrend, 200-day, 50, 28, right at the same spot. Lower highs, lower lows today. A little bit more selling, excuse me, a little bit more selling volume than yesterday's green day, which is a strike against the chart. But now we have another daily high to watch for. So that's 1932, the high of yesterday. Another strike against this chart is, let me move this over. The volume on this kind of sell is a little bit more aggressive and building. Well, this is the 18th. I always forget that. Strike that. Never mind. Forget about that. But this is held up relatively well. It's only, let's see, only pulled back 9.5% off the highs. But it does have some overhead if we zoom out enough there. So strike against the chart. So with all these names, I'm going to be setting alerts just like I'm preparing myself to trade them. But I will most likely just be watching all of these the end of this week, see what takes off. Let some of these stocks actually break out and hold and prove me wrong before I start risking more capital. All right, so that is the stocks that I wanted to cover. I got 3 from StockTwits, but I'll jump to you guys first and then we'll pivot back. So JD and PDD have been working pretty well, actually. I wonder if this is a play off the Alibaba thing. So, I mean, just from a chart standpoint, holding up pretty well. You got some higher lows now coming through here. We're back over the 50-day simple moving average. That's one of the things that I always look for. I won't trade a stock under its 50-day simple moving average. So now we're above that. Closed at the high of the day today. That's another good look on the chart. But I mean, this is really sloppy trading. And when you're trading risk first and you're putting stops on all your positions, a move like this and then another like strong pullback, 7%, that's stopping most people out of the trades. Maybe we have another thing like that. You can see average true range is actually picking up now. So unless you got in kind of on this double bottom breakout here, not a tight enough chart to get good risk reward on. Maybe it does go. It looks strong. It could. But again, I'm not trying to take too many positions right now. But yeah, PDD, super strong. Really good volume on the 2 up days. Less volume on the pullback. So this looks great. New all-time highs. If you're in this trade, like up 15%, you're probably taking some of it off just to lock in profit. But outside of that, this looks strong. Closing near the high of the day, above the upper Bollinger Band, which is, I guess, constricted, now starting to expand. So that's as bullish as it gets, especially in a weakened market. So really strong move for PDD. You guys wanted to see PACB? Look at this. It must have been like a stop loss raid all the way through here. Look at how close that is to the 20-day simple moving average. Maybe it's exactly on that. Let's see. 22.20. 22.20, exactly on the 20-day simple moving average. So someone stepped in right at that point, bought it all the way up, closed right under the, or right above the 8-day exponential moving average. So some of this volume is probably chasing this back up too. But still, this is a very loose chart. Unless you are one of those people that just like add back to positions right on the 20-day, would have been really hard to catch a good risk reward trade with today's pullback. Down 7% still, even with the rally back higher. So we'll see. It's on my like general trading list because this has been in a very strong uptrend. You see the 250, 28 all in the right order. So doing the right things, but not time to put on a trade. Let's see, AQB. Yeah, I think kind of similar. So long lower wick, got chased up, closed higher than the open, which is constructive, but still all over the place. So unless you're using an arbitrary 5% stop, you can't can't use the low of the day as a stop. That's a 14% loss. You're not going to try and take that on an account. So maybe forming a cup and handle, but that handle is going to need work before it can tighten up. Let's see, AMD. That was a really, let me zoom out. That was a really nice VCP setup that broke out with a little bit of volume, ran it up, pulled back, got some buyers, and then I was just selling everything into strength the last week, so I took the trade off there. I had no idea if this was going to pull down. Things were just getting a little bit too overbought, so I was trying to loosen up exposure where I could. Now it's pulled back. I need to see some volume come in on an up day before I take a look at this seriously, but because now you're under the 8-day, and it looks like every time it tries to close above that, or even get above that, it's seeing some selling pressure there. So this is going to need some time or a big volume up day that takes out some of the previous highs through here, and probably the 20-day simple moving average to take the trade there. It's AMD. Let's see what else you guys want to see. LULU. Okay, this is not bad. Starting to tighten up again. Okay, so earnings kind of malfunction the chart, but good low volume right at the end of the pullback. That's good. 3 daily highs right at the same spot. Let's see, 355, 356. Let's set alert for 357. So yeah, good chart to watch. You like to see the volume lighten up as much as you can towards the low, because that means the selling has kind of exhausted on the pullback. People are agreeing on that price, and then if a buyer does step in, there's been so little volume that illiquidity usually drives it higher. But the opposite's true, because illiquidity is lighter now. If a big seller comes in, it's going to drop it just as fast. So we'll have to see which direction this takes off. But does seem to get some buyers every time it pierces under that 50-day simple moving average. So good one to watch, LULU. OSTK. This one has just been living under its 50-day for a while. One of the rules that I try to stick to is if a stock has pulled back over 40% from the highs, I don't like to trade those just because there's typically so much overhead resistance. So this one has 52% pullback off the highs. So even though like this was looking kind of nice, action was tightening up, and then we got that volume pop after earnings, it was still living under the 50-day. You see it stopped right at that point. The next time it tested the 50-day on the 8th, October 8th, got stopped right at that point and then reversed lower, gapped up on earnings right at the 50-day, aggressively sold off all the way down, and two more times. I guess we got one close over the 50-day, but now it's tracking all the way down. This is a downtrend, right at the 200-day simple moving average. Even if this rallies up, it's got this large volume shelf right here that you're going to see some resistance. So there's no absolutes in trading. This could turn around, just rip right through this volume shelf, take out the 50-day. But I'm trying to add as much probability on my side as possible before taking a trade. And that includes not trading stocks under 50% or over 50% off the highs, not trading stocks under the 50-day simple moving average, not trading stocks below some volume shelf here, and showing relative weakness compared to the market. So not a name that I would be looking at. Let's see, crowd. So this is one that in a week or so, if this tightens up, allows the 20-day simple moving average to come up. This could be a setup to watch. Very, very strong volume on the breakout here. Much less on the pullback. Closed right around the 8-day exponential, a little bit below, but not bad. There is a gap in the chart here, so maybe this continues lower, fills that gap, allows the 20-day to catch up. Maybe a buyer steps in there after the gap closes, but if we just kind of tighten up sideways here, allow the 20-day to catch up, it might take a week or two to get into a buyable position, but does not look as bad as most charts this week. AQN. Oh, that's a really nice action. Not as much volume as I expected. He's only 2% up on the day. Okay, so this trade's much tighter than most names. I mean, we're over the high points here. Good relative strength. Green today, closing at the high of the day, above constricted Bollinger Bands. Uptick in volume. That's all. Those are all bullish signals. But again, this is only a 2% up day. Not the type of stock that I try and trade. I try to stick with the more powerful growth names, but with those names, if you get them wrong and you don't have stops placed, they can really hurt you. So if you're going to trade aggressive growth names, you got to be aggressive with your risk controls. Let's go Intel. So Intel violates my 200-day simple moving average rule. Also, gap down on heavy volume, another gap down on heavy volume, another gap down on heavy volume. This is always selling on heavier volume than it's coming back up. So even though it rallied today, not a stock that I want to be trading. Look at all this overhead through here. I don't know. I'm not one to try to trade stocks off the lows. If you're going to do that, typically you have to be quicker with taking profits if you're going to be a swing trader. And when the market is working well and you're getting those quality setups, the high type flags that we were getting last week or 2 weeks ago, that's where you can really grow your account. These bounces off the lows that will typically get sold off, probably not the best area to watch. Okay, yeah, let's jump back to BIDU. So I don't know. If we take out the high here, 202, that's a buyable spot for the high type flag. But really, I want to give this more time for the 20-day to catch up before I think about trading. And I think you will just need to do an arbitrary stop. 5.6% to get to the previous lows. You're not going to put your stop at the low here. Maybe you put your stop at the 8-day exponential, which is, or just under the 8-day, which is just under some of these lows too, as your stop. But I don't know. That's BIDU. All right, let's see. RIOT. Man, RIOT's been a monster. And it was a perfect VCP setup through here. So you had that strong pullback. It's hard to hide this with the volume profile, but volatility contraction pattern, VCP, strong pullback there, another pullback, another pullback. Things got nice and tight inside day and then just explode with volume over those highs. And now it's, geez, up 300% since that buy point. Really strong move, up another 4% after hours. That's great. But I don't know. I'm not buying a stock this far extended away from a breakout point or even an ad spot through here. If you're in the stock, this is still looking bullish. You're not selling your entire position here. It looks really strong, especially compared to the market. Look at that relative strength. But you also notice average true range is increasing. So these bars are very, very wide. If you're going to try and take a trade, you're putting an arbitrary stop on there, 5%, 7%. And the further away from the base that you take a trade, typically you will get stopped out on normal fluctuations of that. So definitely not taking a new position here, but looks bullish still, very strong. All right, let's see. JMIA got stopped out of that yesterday at my entry point on some remaining shares. So what I saw here was just a really nice flat top at $41. Couple of days touched, could not break. So we got this inside day in the upper half of the previous candle. So and then the next day, this is set up the chart perfectly. Undercut the previous low, then took out the high, took out 41. So that was my buy point right there. And then you can see the red flags. I was just selling into strength on the way up, and then with a quarter of my position or so, a third of my position left, kept my stop at my entry point of 41, and then got stopped out yesterday. Another red day, a little bit less volume with it today, but I'm going to be keeping an eye on this, but probably not going to try and re-enter until we get a couple names taking off and going without me. What's that sell off from the high? Is that maybe 20%? 23%. Yeah, we'll give that a little bit more time. Shane, how's it going? All right, glad you joined. Amazon, yeah. Amazon picked up a share yesterday, one share, about 8% of my portfolio, so in between that 5 and 10%, but was on the breakout watch list, looked really quality VCP setup. So that first move, 20% down, second pullback, 16%, third pullback, 10%. Things are getting tighter. Third pullback or fourth pullback, 5%, fourth pullback, 2.5%, 3%, whatever it was. And then we came out of that on volume. I bought with a break over the pivot point high here, what I get filled at 32.80. Looks good today. Higher highs, higher lows. Still closed above the upper Bollinger Band. Good volume compared to the two previous kind of down days. I'll be quick to put my stop and my entry if this has another day of 2%, 3% going. So I'm always trying to just limit my risk when the market's not acting well. But right now, Amazon, this is a very strong base, good breakout on volume, doing all the right things. You see Apple also handling this move pretty well, even though like most of the growth names are malfunctioning. So that's AMZN. Just lowered my average for DK. Yeah, so I got stopped out of DraftKings yesterday under some previous lows. This is going to definitely need some time to set up. One thing that I never do is add to a losing position. I'd much rather add to a winning one. And if something takes out a stop, I will listen to that stop, let it reset. And if it sets up right again, I'll take it the next trading day in the next week, whatever. I'm not emotionally hurt by a stock setup not working because I have my trade rules and I stick to those. But now this lower low, lower high today, now we're sitting under this big volume shelf and getting too close to this 50-day simple moving average. So I'll check this in a week or two, see if it sets up again, but definitely gonna need some time. ATEC very strong. This one kind of kills me, but I was sticking to my rules. This long lower wick stopped me out, and then I was heavy in some other positions that were working, so did not catch this buy zone through here. But this looks really strong. You see, just riding between the upper Bollinger Band and the rising 8-day exponential moving average. Volume doing all the right things. Today's lower wick touched that 8-day, rallied back higher. So this quality uptrend, you're not rushing to sell this, but maybe this is one that, hey, this looks great. I'm still in the money on this. Let me sell this to soften up my P&L. We're not sure until we get some market confirmation that some breakouts are going to be working. Everything that is still like in the green is more at risk for a sell-off. FCX still looking fine, just sideways action. ATR coming in, volume lightening up. Break over yesterday's high could be buyable, but it's not going to be a very fast mover, but is in a nice, just consistent uptrend the whole year. So something that I have an alert set for this name at the high, but probably another one that I'm just watching. Let's go SPG. Yeah, definitely not trading this guy. This kind of move, you're just seeing. We've had months and months of the market making new highs and growth names ripping. If a stock's not back over its March's highs, not a name that I want to be looking for. I'm always trying to trade the strongest stocks that are getting stronger, not weak stocks that are bouncing off some lows. 200-day just now getting flat. We are over the 50-day. Let's see, what are we up? 57% off the lows. Yeah, not a setup that I look for, just because you're gonna have so much resistance trying to bounce through that area. A lot of selling pressure. Let's see. Yeah, we'll wrap it up with MARA. Yeah, very all over the place chart. I see it's up after hours. Is that bid ask? Yeah. Okay, so it's up 6% after hours. I'm not sure about the news on this after hours, but obviously extended from the base here, 400%. We'll give this some time to set up. I'm not. Anytime you take a trade extended from the base, even with some like normal fluctuations, normal pullbacks to the 8-day or the 20-day, will likely stop you out for a full stop if you're taking a trade this late. So not trying to do that. Trying to stick to the strict trading rules. When they work, you can put some good size on and it takes off. But when things start to malfunction, you can really come off your equity highs, and that's not something I want to do. I never want to be over 10% off my highs. That's a goal of 2021 for sure. All right, so that's going to be the live stream for today. I do have some very big news coming out for 2021. Working on a trading challenge, we'll say for now. Looking through some last minute options on this, but definitely tune in on January 1st for a big announcement for the channel. If you enjoyed the video today, please leave a like, comment on any stocks that you think are set up that I didn't cover today, because I need to do my homework, got to find the quality setups and be ready when the market does turn around. All right, that's it. Have a great night, and I'll see you